Now, one can see from Rykov artificial reincarnation that you can artificially reincarnate a new you from the noosphere, which was explained in that video. Introduction to the noosphere and the planetary mind. Yeah. So, in artificial reincarnation, you're sticking in dead people, but you can stick in. We've explained it works according to the Soviets, and of course is the biggest failure in world history according to the CIA. And of course, we know the CIA never lie, do they? But according to Pompeo, that's all the CIA do, is just lie. But in the noosphere, we've got a whole host of consciousness. It's the collective consciousness of the planet, and we can simply artificially reincarnate into ourselves, not a dead person, but a person that was us from another timeline where we didn't age, our DNA didn't get destroyed, degraded, we didn't get cancer, we didn't get a heart attack, we didn't get a stroke, we became a super soldier, we didn't get diseased, we didn't age, and we could heal anything and everything. Now, the noosphere is the all the consciousness of the planet, and of course that's why I allowed Morton Janklow. I sent him the first book of my fantasy series, and he gave it to Robert Jordan, who then plagiarized the entire Wheel of Time based upon my book. So, since I'm the time density cause, I control everything produced from it. And you might go, why would you allow these vermin to steal your intellectual property? Well, because from conception, reverse time density, remember, all the effects of it are controlled by me. Time density cause was yours truly. And of course you need death, remember, for time density cause. So, what was the reward for Robert Jordan? He died before he finished it and had to give it to some other American retard to finish, and Morton Janklow. Dead. The wages of sin are death for you Christian Zionists. But they have produced the books and the Amazon Prime series where you can heal things using the power. So we've already got the noosphere where the Aes Sedai can heal people using Sidon and Sidar. We now define them. What are you channeling? You're channeling scalionics, torsionics, and leptionics. And the only one who understands the science and the mathematical physics behind it, of course, is the great dictator, the Lord of the Rings, the Jewish Messiah, the King Vampire, the Psylord. Yours truly. But one can download into oneself, if one's me, the power to heal anything and everything even more importantly, there's one of the Forsaken, Lanfear, who was obsessively in love with the thing that reincarnated as Randall Thor, the good old Jewish boy they put in this one. She, of course, hasn't aged or died since the Psionic Society, the society that mastered Psi, fell because they opened up the gateway to the dark side and released the Great Dark Lord. And had to then seal him back in the Borg, which is all my work from the book, all stolen by Morton Janklow and given to Robert Jordan. And of course I love it because they produced this massive psychic warfare program for me, where everyone that watches introduces into the noosphere all of these powers potentials for me. In this case, with Lanfear and the Forsaken, in the noosphere now we've got immortality and the body and the ability when you're killed to jump into another body, which wasn't there prior to seeding this into the noosphere. So you can see that seeding the noosphere allows you then to import into yourself one of the super beings that can channel heal themselves, do healing, and live forever. Rykov artificial reincarnation. I'd have some of that, wouldn't you, Vinny?
Most certainly.
Now, of course, we then need the power source. We go back to the original, the Borg. So, all of the people that have been stuck with the nanotech and genetically modified and the SV40 have been turned into nanotech controlled beasts, because if you look at Z Media again, they were infesting them with DNA from loads of animals, including snakes, hedgehogs, and a whole host of other beasties to beastify the 6 billion Borg. Why would they do this? Well, they were using Rykov artificial reincarnation. So, in The Fire from Within, they've got a chapter on the easiest movement of the assemblage point. Which is the shift below, turning into a beast. So, all of the Borg have been turned into beasts by the gene therapy, and their assemblage point then has to move because they've been genetically modified, and the assemblage point on the right shoulder blade then, if you look at turning into a beast, moves downwards. So the assemblage point of the Borg no longer is on the right shoulder blade, but is moved all the way down. To behind the positions where the ribs are for the dreaming body and the remote viewing body. So, by changing their DNA, you change them, and you're changing their physical form. And by doing that, of course, you're releasing all the energy that made them human via the Ivanova proven network, the nanotech in them, to be sucked up by the AI. And of course, we talked about how we've got the quantum wave function collapse via CERN, explained all that. So humans exist, they're the non-Borg. Anyone who's been turned into a Borg, the 6 billion, don't even look at them upon them as humans. They are simply genetically modified animals whose only purpose is to broadcast scalionics, leptionics, torsionics via the nanotech to be used for the healing, anti-aging and elevation of the user. That's their only purpose. So if you look at the chapter in the Fire from Within, you'll see turning into a beast is the easiest shift, which is changing your form. So everyone who's been Borgized has a different physical form. And the higher up the assemblage point goes, the higher their consciousness. The lower it goes, the lower their consciousness. So the 6 billion have been turned into animals, and they have the intellectual capacity of animals. You might wonder why I'm a super genius. Well, simply put, the 6 billion have allowed me to raise my consciousness to levels which the shamans of old could not achieve, because they didn't have 6 billion vampire prey to suck dry to elevate one person. And in the art of dreaming, we've got the line energy body, where the energy body starts as an egg, goes into a cylinder, and then gets higher and higher. And then eventually, if you raise it high enough, can turn into a line energy body. Think of a line stretching into infinity. So if you've got 6 billion energy bodies on top of each other, then you'll come to where yours truly has come by just sucking dry the 6 billion that have been Borgized, let alone their offspring, the quadrillions in the future. So as you can see why the line stretches into, well, nigh on infinity. I know what I'm talking about is so far beyond what's left of humanity that they're going, what, like Homer Simpson after a lobotomy, which is basically what you are, but never fear. If you get a vampire service, you simply don't have to worry about all of these details, because you're simply sharing in the bounty. It's like Johnny Depp, the pirate captain, where the entire crew shares the spoils. I do all the hard work. You share the spoils. Why? Because we're increasing the yield from chaos. That's the only reason it's enabled. Now, if the elite, or former elite, now they're just torture toys because they're on the front line, are changing humans into animals by injecting into them the DNA of snakes and poisonous hedgehogs and a whole host of other things explained on Z Media, and of course he who cannot be mentioned years ago. Stupiders, definitely not YouTube friendly. The Rykov artificial reincarnation's going on, but it's not Rykov artificial reincarnation. We're talking about setting up a new altar of the physical body, that's an animal, changing its characteristics. This happening, the old characteristics, the old energies released to he who has caused the change. So you can see the scamdemic was a gigantic mining operation of scalionics, leptionics and torsionics of the human race to be uplined to he who controls the technology to then be used to de-age, make well and potentially immortalize the Rothschild, Rockefellers and the billionaires and trillionaires like Bill Gates and Elon Musk. So you've been looking at the scandemic in the wrong way. Why would the billionaires, trillionaires kill off the public? Because they can simply sell them stuff and they're the slaves anyway. So they're killing off their own nations and penalizing them and lowering, of course, well, look at the West. The West has basically collapsed since the scandemic. Look at Europe. But of course, if the people who own it were offered immortality or life extension or ability to cure disease by the aliens, then of course they jump at the chance, would they not? So you've been looking at the whole scandemic from the wrong perspective. Now with the Borg, they've been turned into animals, their assemblage point has dropped, which means then you can raise your assemblage point. So the starting point from healing is the Metatron state. So the starting point for healing is the Metatron state, described in Kabbalah as the young old man. And let's be honest, that would be of interest to me, being 67 and having no intention of looking like a UK pensioner. I can fully agree with the billionaires and trillionaires that once you get the cash, the only thing of importance is being healthy, young and immortal. Everything else is irrelevant. But of course, you need the power to do that, which is scalionics, leptionics and torsionics, which we're getting from the Borg. And since the Borg's assemblage point have dropped to turn them into animals, don't look at anyone who's a Borg as anything but an animal. They've had their brains lobotomized by the nanotech. They've got myocarditis, turbo cancer, and their DNA has been hijacked by a whole host of exosomes and various other things. And they're producing toxic poison in every cell in their body because of the gene therapy. So you can see with Rykov artificial reincarnation, we're sticking in another soul. With this technology, we're doing the physical version, the bilocation, where you can bilocate and wake up in another position, which is remote viewing, where you simply remotely view a distant location and then wake up there. Which means, therefore, since you're here and there, you can have two bodies. But why do you have to have the original body that you had when you started? You can have a much better body that you bilocate and wake up in. So it's like Rykov artificial reincarnation, but not the soul bit, the body bit. you get a new enhanced body, and in order to do that, you need massive amounts of scalionics, torsionics, and leptionics, which you get from 6 billion Borg. And how do you upload that energy from the Varnava? If she can stick healing down a telephone line, I can suck all that lovely stuff up a telephone line, or via my smart TV, or via the internet, into me, simply having my crystals on top of the TV that feed me every time I connect to the internet via my smart TV, feeding me to produce not Rykov artificial reincarnation, but to produce an installation within me of a new body that I eventually wake up in, a body that doesn't age, a body that is immune to all diseases, and a body that's immortal. But of course, in order to do that, you need to reach the position where this is possible. And the human that's position for this is the assemblage point on top of the head, which is in the penultimate Grail patterns given to Colin Bloy by the Elohim, because remember the Illuminati have been communing with the Elohim, and there, of course, the Elohim had their walk-ins, their avatars, the Rothschild, Rockefeller royal family. This was the machine code for that. So in order to get into healing, not laying on of hands by a healer to give you cancer, and they're aging because they're dying from trying to use their energy to heal people, so they're then just broadcasting their sucked dry consciousness into you when they put their hands on you, or worse still, trying to get energy from you to heal them from trying to do healing. You gotta love it. You need to get into the Metatronic state. And the Metatronic state is when you walk with God, walk with the source. So the gateway to sourcehood is moving the assemblage point from the right shoulder blade to the top of the head. And that's given in the penultimate Grail patterns, which you can buy from Mike for $150 or $100 if you're a vampire. So get your Grail patterns, and you can use the original documents, which I got off Colin Bloy, and that was the book that he transcribed them into, and then he lost, and then had to borrow my photocopied book back because he lost it. So you can see, even there you got the occult ritual of him losing all he wished to achieve, and died as a penniless pauper, 2003, and I achieved what he wanted to achieve. So one can see the Metatron state is the starting point of healing oneself to become a young old man. It's basically someone who's old, like me, an old git, who doesn't display the characteristics of a pensioner, but is a young old man. That's how you describe me, wouldn't you, Vinny?
Most certainly.
Exactly. So, here we see the worthlessness of healing. If you try and heal someone, you're bifurcating, so you're going to chaos. Healing is all going back to sourceness, and the source, remember, is immortal, and whatever attacks it always gets done in and makes new sourceness. So you always want to be on the one line, preferably up this end of the spectrum. So healer, healing someone else, is going in the wrong direction. So healing is the worst possible thing you can do in your life, and will then get you bifurcating into the strange attractor where you've lost everything and then off into the hell state. So if you wish to hellize yourself, please become a healer, a psychic healer. Psychic healing is the worst possible thing you can do. How do you get around it? Simple. You get into Tim Refat, Sidlord, source, vampirism, where you simply stay in the one state, and if you're going to heal people, you make them yourself. So the only people you can heal are vampires. If they're not vampires, then let them die. And the more you heal them, the more sources you use, the more you're driving yourself from this point, which is where all the vampires are, up here. So the more healing you do, you're up to there. Now, since you're garbage, worthless eaters, you're using artificial bilocation, sticking in a new body, which of course is the Metatron body. So the more you wake up in the Metatron body, the more you're aligning your assemblage point, and it's on top of the head, with the galactic center and the gateway to the fifth dimension and the source. Because remember, gravity is light in the fifth dimension, so the galactic center has all this super massive four-dimensional gravity. So if you're going to find the gateway to the five dimension and the light and the gravity in the fifth dimension, be the galactic center, which is north, top of the head, from the Earth. And remember, the Earth swivels slightly, so we're linked up to the galactic center, and this is the time for super healing, getting rid of the Kali Yuga and getting into the golden age. So in healing, you must never ever heal anyone who isn't a vampire. But of course, if I heal vampires, then of course I'm making more sources for myself, because I'm healing myself. Healer, heal thyself. So when you do healing, the only people you can heal are yourself. That's why you've got vampire technology. Make more of myself, so if they want to be healed, I get more sources by healing myself. See? Very easy. Where do I get the energy from? I get it from chaos. And the 6 billion can be seen as the prey I feed on. They're losing their humanness because they've been turned into animals, so I can give myself more humanness. So my assemblage point, which is at the top of the head, then rises up. If you look at the penultimate grail state, you'll see the assemblage points up the top of the energy body, which has opened up, and there's lines going up, so you then are able to bilocate your body higher and higher and higher, and become more and more superhuman, more and more super intelligent, the more energy you get from the Borg. And how do you get the Borg? It's very simple. You simply get smart TV and watch TV, and everyone who's vaccinated, everyone who's been infested with nanotech or gene therapyized, or chemtrailed or eaten infested food, or had medicinal stuff stuck in them, be they drugs or dental anesthetic, etc. All of this has Borgized them to a lesser or greater extent. And we've seen with Schrodinger's cat, you can have someone who is maybe Borg, maybe not Borg, depending how you open the box, and people who are totally Borg. When you open the box, all of them are your food stuff as a vampire, and the way you do it is simply having Ivanova broadcasting healing energy out of your smart TV or laptop by having the crystals on top of the TV to make a negative torsion field. The two black ones point inwards, and then two clear ones outside of them with their butts, their white bits, facing outwards for a positive torsion field. Simple as that. So the more TV you watch with your assemblage point switched off, to get into remote sensing, which is the natural state for humans now. They can't stop their internal dialogue unless they're watching laptop, phone or TV. So you can see why phones are much good. You can't put crystals on top of a smartphone. iPads are good though. When you do that, you're constantly feeding yourself with the healing energy, and once you've moved your assemblage point up to the top of the head, you can begin your voyage into the noosphere, and we've charted the route in the noosphere with the Wheel of Time, where you start off being able to healing yourself to go up the line, de-aging yourself, which the Forsaken can do, make yourself immortal with the Forsaken. So you can see the Forsaken service allows you to jump from simply healing to becoming age immortal, and then being able to jump into another body when you're killed, which is perfect for the billionaires, trillionaires, growing clones that wish to do this. All powered by torsionics, scalenionics and leptionics, and of course Higgs field, because that's the assemblage point was made from the Higgs process, as we've explained. You become beasts and you become not human, but a god, a demigod from the 6 billion, plus all the future generations you can then link into. That never come to pass because of what's been done to the 6 billion, and their offspring will all be Borg as well. So one can see that this is a golden age where the unrighteous are simply healing, anti-aging and immortalizing the righteous. Power source simply watching and linking into the Borg via the internet, uploading via Varnava, and you've got the psychotronic crystals specifically orientated for that, a negative torsion field, positive torsion field configuration. So you're simply getting fed every time you look at your iPad, laptop or smart TV. So I'm simply feeding myself every time I link into it. And of course I'm have artificially bilocated, put in a new body into myself which doesn't age, doesn't get disease, is immortal, an altered state with the assemblage point on the top, rising up. So the assemblage point's on top, but then it can move, bilocate up to get a line energy body to allow me to be in the real world, but to de-age, be immune to disease. And you must admit, cameraman, they're releasing a lot of bioweapon disease and they're trying to get me, aren't they? And become immortal simply by feeding off what was done to the 6 billion and the alien technology that was supposed to feed the billionaires, trillionaires, and give them this potential when they follow the aliens and killed off most of the human population to turn Earth into an alien enclave. And remember, these aliens hate sunlight, so their clouds covering and all the other thing they're doing isn't for climate change, it's for the aliens that were promised by the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family to be given the planet in return for immortality tech.